Hey, this is Pat, and we're checking out the all-new Merlin Edale II Cotec waterproof jacket. Now, if you are in the market for a 3 to 4 season, cool to cold weather, British style wax cotton jacket, the Edale II might just be the one for you. We saw with the original Edale this similar style, a couple updates come through with the Edale II I'll get to in a minute, but the overall style just screams British classic style riding jacket. And I think Merlin did a really great job at keeping the overall style of the original Edale with giving us a few updates, like you're getting a CEAA main construction for abrasion resistance, as well as an updated waterproof liner. But before I get too long-winded on all the features, let's talk about the fit, because that's something Spurgeon and I were really harping on before we got on camera. I have Spurgeon on my left. He's 6'3", 44-inch chest, weighs in at 220 pounds, and he's wearing a size extra large, which is what Merlin's size chart says should fit him. And you can tell it does fit him spot on with the liner, with the removable thermal inside. Now, if he was going to opt to remove that thermal, he could go down to a size large, but with the thermal, with it set up as Merlin intended, the size chart is very accurate. So take your measurements, reference that size chart, and you should be all set. Small through 4 extra large in the sizing. Does come in 2 colorways. We have them in the olive right here. It also comes in a black, and it comes in at the $500 price point, which is $20 up from the previous Edale. Now, getting into some of the features and breaking this jacket down, we do have a very unique snap style, almost like a buckle style collar up top. It's something that's a little bulky, does take a little bit getting used to when closing it, but I do like the overall style that it brings to the table. You do have some quilting running down the collarbone out to the shoulder, and at the shoulder and the elbow, you are getting D3O armor, which we see from Merlin all the time. This is LP1, this is CE level 1 D3O armor. You get that again at the shoulder as well as the elbow, and they are including the D3O Viper back protector as well. Coming down the sleeves, you do have adjusters, snap adjusters at the inner bicep as well as at the forearm, and then a stash pocket over here on the right forearm with a zipper closure at the base of the cuff. And I will say, you do get snap adjusters. Just keep in mind that snap adjuster could scratch your paint if you're leaning on it. I know when I get to a traffic light, I tend to lean onto my gas tank, so just be aware of that. Merlin, if you're listening, I would love to see that move to the upper side just to avoid any issues in the future. Moving down the chest, you do have a YKK main zipper hidden behind a couple snaps, and I do like that they are accented in a pretty solid color with the Merlin logo over top. And I was talking about with Spurgeon, one of my favorite features is you can actually put your thumb behind it. There is a thumb loophole behind each snap, so you can easily do it with one hand when you're putting the jacket on or off. You do have 2 vents up at the upper chest. I will say those are indirect vents. That's going to go right to that waterproof liner. It's a Humax waterproof liner, which is a little bit stretchier than we saw in the Edale. That was the improvement I was talking about in the beginning of the video. So it does allow a little bit more movement. Just know all the ventilation in this jacket is only going to go to that non-removable waterproof liner. So just keep that in mind if you are thinking about a summer riding jacket. The Edale might not be the one for you. 2 top-loading pockets up top with snap closures as well as down at the base. And I will say you do have hand-warmer pockets behind those lower ones. And one thing I want to note for our camera guy over here, if you could just zoom in here, you do have this line running around the mid-torso. That is a cinch cord from the inside, so if you want to tighten it in a little bit, say you're not wearing that thermal liner, but you did keep the normal sizing, you can cinch that in, just make sure you're getting a nice look to it at the mid-torso. Spurgeon, you can go ahead and turn to the side and put your arms up in the riding position. You do have, like I said, a nice 8-ounce Halley Stevensons wax cotton main construction, but I will say it doesn't have too much stretch to it. It's a little bit on the rigid side, but I do like the hand that it has to it just overall. So no stretch at the shoulder blades and a nice clean side running down to a double snap adjuster down at the lower hem. And you can get a nice profile pic of the quilting down the side as well as at the elbow. I think, again, the Edale's original style is echoed really well in the Edale II. Spurgeon, if you could face the back for me. One of my favorite features about the Edale II, though, is this up at the collar. You do have a flip-up piece of reflective. I like that they've hidden that. Some people don't like reflective. I personally do, but I like that they're giving everyone the option to either tuck that away or have that extra visibility. Say it's raining or you're riding at night, you can pop that up and just be a little bit more noticed out on the road. Additional quilting across the upper back, as well as I mentioned earlier, do get that D3O back protector included. That is CE level 1, but I do like at this price point that Merlin is including it. So you are getting a full D3O complement as well as that CEAA, so you're really protecting yourself out on the ride while not looking too shabby as well. 2 vertical exhaust vents on each side replace the original exhaust vent on the first version, which was a horizontal one. Again, though, that's coming right from the waterproof liner, so it's not going to get direct airflow or get that out, but it'll help get that moisture out away from the waterproof liner. The stash pocket at the lower back has also been updated. It used to be a very small single-sided one that you could stash like a pair of gloves in. They've turned it into a full rabbit pouch at each side with the snap closures and the drop seat for the riding position. Spurgeon, if you could go ahead and spin around and open up Now, when we get to the interior, this is where I think you're going to be battling most of the elements, because I remember I mentioned that non-removable waterproof liner, but you also get a full sleeve thermal Outlast liner. Now, if anybody knows anything about Outlast, it is a thermal regulating liner, so it's going to be able to help pull away any hot air, push any cold air away, so it helps keep your body at a nice even temperature using the technology that Outlast has had for a few years. Peeking in here, you do have a mesh liner. Again, the waterproof liner is going to be behind that mesh liner, so you're not going to get any of that breathability from the vents, but the mesh will allow that internal air to move around nicely. You get some stash pockets as well as belt loops at the back as well if you want to secure these to some pants or stash away maybe your phone under that waterproof pocket. You're going to be able to do that for your ride and not have any issues with it. Spurge, you can go ahead and zip that up for me. So there you have it. The Merlin Edale II, again, I think took a great heritage in the original Edale. Merlin made some tweaks, updated the overall safety with that AA abrasion resistance. The back protector is now included. You get a couple extra stash pockets, but the overall style still screams classic British heritage. And I think that's what Merlin has been one of their strengths for years and years. So I like what they've done with the Edale II. But if you have any other questions, click that info button. That's going to take you over to the product page where you can read other rider reviews and see what other riders are saying about the all-new Edale. If you still have questions, our customer service is always available. They're all riders, happy to help you get set up for your next ride. I want to thank you for joining Spurgeon and I and checking out the all-new Merlin Edale II Cotec waterproof jacket. I'm Pat, and I'll see you in the next video.